Hi everyone, it's Plumb here to share another scrapbooking process video with you. Now today's layout that I am sharing is part of Gwen's Document December Stash Bust YouTube hop that is currently going on. And today is the 11th of December, so I am the 11th stop on the way. And I will put a list down below for you of all of the fabulous participants in this hop so you can go through and watch all their festive layouts for plenty of Christmas themed inspiration. Now, some of you that know me may be actually having a little bit of a giggle to yourself that I am participating in this hop because traditionally I am not much of a Christmas scrapper. Generally, I don't tend to scrap a lot of Christmas pages because I'm not a huge fan of Christmas ranges. I generally have really crappy photos from Christmas and it's just not my thing. Grinch may be a great word to describe me. Giggle all you like, Gwen. But I do love Gwen, and when she asked me to participate in this hop, of course I said yes. Now, given that this was organised by the darling Gwen, of course I was going to use some of her cut files. So the page that I'm creating today actually features two cut files from Cut to You. The first one I was using is called Simple Star, and I actually cut that 3 times and backed it. Surprise, surprise. And the other one that I am working with is actually called The Good List, which is what I used for my page title. Now, my issue with this page was, given that this is a Christmas stash busting hop, I don't really have any Christmas supplies. I had a very, very small amount of embellishments left from the Cocoa Vanilla Studio 'Tis the Season collection. And other than that, there was nothing in my stash because I don't buy Christmas collections. So what I have actually had to do is dip into my supplies of the current Christmas collection from Cocoa Vanilla Studio, which is called Merry and Bright. And I've combined that with some of the embellishments from 'Tis the Season that I found in my stash. And for this page, I decided to mix them all up together. And as I said, use some of Gwen's cut files and put this layout together. So there was a couple of other things that I was stash busting from my stash. I actually decided to use up a sheet of mint cardstock to back the 3 stars that I cut. And it probably was a good thing that I pulled out this sheet of cardstock to back the stars with, because it was so old it had started to discolor around the edges. So I had already backed the stars before I started this layout because that's the boring bit and nobody needs to see that. And the other thing that I had already done was I cut the title file that I used, that's the Good List one, and I actually coloured it in with black and red Sharpie. Now, the reason I didn't cut this in black was because I actually wanted the little tick that's on it to be red, so I actually opted to just cut it in white and colour it all in so I could have the colours placed exactly where I wanted them. Alright, now that's probably enough of a background. Let's get stuck into what I'm doing here. So you can see I've got that sheet of pattern paper there, which has got the little Christmas trees on it, that mint coloured one. And you can see that I cut out the centre, I cut all the guts of it out because I am a bit of a paper Scrooge, and I do prefer, when I'm using it for a border like this, to cut the middle out so I can use it for matting and other things. And then I have cut down some white cardstock just to measure 11 by 11 there, so it's giving me sort of a 1/2 inch border all the way around. And then I've got one of the other pattern papers from the Merry and Bright collection, which is that beautiful sort of candy striped one there. And I've just torn a piece to go down the center of my page and then sort of distress the edges and just rub them and ruffled them just to give them a bit of texture. And I've sort of run that down the center of my page to form the focal area of this layout. Now, the photo that you can see there that I am working with is one of my kids' Santa photos from last year. And you can see that they are all wearing sunglasses. They're all wearing aviators and moustaches. And this was our little nod to Queen and Freddie Mercury, because we do like a bit of Queen around this house. And you can see that Santa is actually holding a sign there that says, "Is this the real life?" So yeah, we don't like to do normal Santa photos here. We always try and do something a little bit fun. So this was one of last year's ones. So you can see that I have taken that bit of pattern paper that I actually cut from the center of my border there, and I'm using that to mat the photo. So I'm just tying in that mint color again, and I am going to sit the photo on that striped paper because, as I said, that's the focal area of my page. And then what I wanted to do was have the cut file, the good list there, just sit and run along the bottom of my page under my photo. I thought it worked quite well in black with this photo because my daughter's actually wearing black and there's quite a bit of sort of darkness in the background behind the kids and Santa there. And then I've got the 3 stars. Now, as I said, I actually cut them in 2 different sizes. So there are 2 larger ones and 1 smaller one, which I backed with that mint cardstock from my stash, and I am just placing those around the photo to form a visual triangle. You can see, of course, I was going to work with 3 stars. I work with the rule of 3s all the time, and I'm just going to place those around the photo, as I said, to form that visual triangle around the focal point of interest. Now, before I stuck the stars down, I figured out where the placement of those was going to be. And then I went in with a stamp. This one is actually from Viva Las Vegas Stamps, and it's called Sky of Stars Background. It's a background stamp, and it's got little tiny dots and stars on it. It's really cute. It's one of my favorite background stamps. I use it all the time. And I've just got some black stays on ink there because I just wanted to bring a little bit more darkness onto the page, tie in those black colors a little bit more, and just put a little bit of extra interest on the page behind where the stars were going to sit. You can see, yeah, once I actually had the star in place, I thought I'd better put a little bit more on. So you can see how the stamping actually pokes out from behind those stars. And that was really as messy as I actually got on this page. I didn't actually get out any other mediums to play with. I just thought a bit of simple stamping because I had a lot going on already with the cut files and the photo, and then there was embellishments to come. So I've got my photo in place. I've figured out where my cut file is going to sit. It's got exactly enough room to sit down the bottom there. And I'm just going to use my Scotch tacky glue in my fine line bottle, which I'll put on super fast forward because that's really boring. And I'm just going to stick that along the bottom edge underneath the photo for my title. Now, I will point out one error that I made in this video, which I actually realized the error of my ways once I had finished filming. But this cut file, the good list, you can see that it actually has 3 words and it has 3 check boxes that go with it. Now, when you cut it, one of the little check boxes actually is separate and loose on its own. And you can see that I've stuck down the rest of the file there. And I actually neglected to stick on the final checkbox before I turned the camera off. So that's the only thing that you won't see me do in this video. I actually realized that I'd forgotten to stick it down. I found it on my desk at the end and then stuck it down after I turned the camera off. Okay, the other mistake I made was I actually stuck that cut file down, the title cut file down, before I realized that I was actually going to sit the star under the very end of it. Luckily, my glue wasn't too dry and I was able to pry up sort of the Y at the end there and just tuck the star underneath and then stick it back down on the top, which I just did then. That's the thing. We're all human, aren't we? We all make mistakes, and I'm not going to edit my mistakes out or not tell you about them because we all make them. Anyway, moving on. So I've got my 3 stars in place and I have pulled out my little embellishment bowl there. Now, if you've watched my previous videos, you'd know that I usually work from a little container, but I was shopping last week and I found this super cute bowl with a beautiful gold rim that I just couldn't resist. So that's my new embellishment bowl. Now, I've got some leftover embellishments, as I said, from the 'Tis the Season collection from Cocoa Vanilla Studio, which was released 5 years ago. I've got some little resin stars there. I've actually stuck one on my title there because I wanted it to be in the middle of the A. I have actually stuck another one up near the top there and then one down the bottom right. So again, I'm working with threes again. Visual triangle, I can't help it. Old habits die hard. I've got a flare button, and I've also got that 17, which I fussy cut from that piece of paper that I used as my back. So I just added that into the little cluster that I was creating there and stuck that down with a bit of foam tape because I actually wanted to raise that up a little bit off the background. Now, what else have I got? Oh, that little die cut piece there, that was actually left over from 'Tis the Season as well. That actually says wish list on it. And being the mint colour as well, I thought that would tie in really well with the other elements that I had going on with this page. I also used foam tape on that one because I just wanted to pop it up a little bit from the photo because you'll see where I end up sticking it. I did actually audition this in a couple of spots, and I actually ended up sticking it up above the photo there. Now, what else did I have in my bowl? You can see I've got some enamel dots in my bowl there, and I didn't actually end up using those. So, but I was happy that I did manage to bust through a few of these older embellishments. Now, you can see I've actually got 3 bows left over from 'Tis the Season. I really did want to use the red one, but I felt like that it popped out too much. I tried the green, but of course it wasn't the right color because I had so much mint going on. So I ended up using that little sort of light brown one, and I just whacked a little daub of my Helmers on it and stuck that down onto the little cluster that I was building. What else did I do? Oh, I dug, as I said, in that embellishment bowl there, I did have enamel dots that I didn't use, but I also had those super cute little test tubes that had lots of sequins left over. So in the end, I did end up going with sequins rather than enamel dots because I thought they just added a bit of extra sparkle to the page, and who doesn't love sparkle on a festive page? Gwen, you must be quite impressed with how many Christmas pages I've done this year. Ha. Anyway, so you can see the other little test tubes. Oh my goodness, they are so cute. And as I said, I had quite a few sequins left. I might need to do something else with some sequins, I think. Now, you can see that I had leftover stickers on these sticker sheets, which I looked at for a while, and I looked at all the elements that were left on those sticker sheets, and I couldn't really find anything that I thought would go or that I was particularly happy with. So I pulled out my die cut ephemera pack from the Merry and Bright collection and dug through that just to find some extra bits and pieces to finish off my embellishment clusters. So I'm just picking through there to see what else I can add because I really did want to add something else to that cluster on the right there. It looked a little bit bare. I thought it needed something with a bit of an organic type shape, so I actually dug through to find these little pieces so I could create that little sprig of holly there, so a couple of leaves and the little berries. Again, I'm just using my Scotch tacky glue, and as usual, I am not sticking them down completely on the page just so I can bend the ends of the leaves up from the page just to create that little bit of extra dimension. And there I go, sticking the berries on. So once I had those bits there, I was pretty happy with that cluster, and then I was turning my attention to the star on the left-hand side of the page because basically that was where my second cluster was. I found a little banner piece that actually says Sweet Memories on it, and again it's sort of in that mint coloured family, so that worked really well. And I think I also put a little heart on there. I think I'm digging through and I found a little heart there, which I popped up on a little bit of foam tape just to raise it up. And I decided I didn't want to cover up that beautiful star too much at all. So I think I kept that cluster there fairly simple because the star was the base of the cluster. And then I looked at that star at the top where I've got the wish list die cut, and I decided it needed a little something up there as well. So I pulled out a flower to finish that cluster off. Now, as I said, I am going to pop the list down below of all of the participants in this hop so you can go through over the next 2 weeks and watch all the other videos that are coming up. If you have missed any of the previous videos, you'll be able to get the links to all the channels below so you can go back and watch their pages as well. I will put links down below to these files in the Cut to You store. So if you are interested in purchasing those to use on your own page, you can grab them from Gwen's store there. What else do I need to tell you? I think that's kind of it. As you can see here, this is where I went through and I stuck all the sequins on the page. I've sped up this part because it's quite boring. How do you stick your sequins on a page? What tool do you use? I actually use one of those wax pencils that you can see me using there, which is like a nail art wax pencil. Do you prefer to use tweezers? Do you use your fingers? What do you find best for getting your sequins onto your page? I'm quite curious. Once I had all the sequins down on the page, I was almost done. I went to my Merry and Bright sticker sheet because I was just looking for a couple of small phrase stickers because, as I said, I like to balance visual elements on my page with text so that people have things to read when their eye moves around the page. So I just popped a couple of little phrase stickers on there, and I think that was it. It didn't really require any journaling, this page. It pretty much speaks for itself. I'm so happy that Gwen asked me to participate in this and push me out of my comfort zone to create another Christmas page. I do hope you have enjoyed watching my process today. If you aren't already a subscriber on my channel, I would love it if you would subscribe. If you've enjoyed what you've seen today, I'd love it if you could leave me a thumbs up. If you have any questions about anything that you've seen today, pop them in the comments below and I will get back to you ASAP. Thank you so much for watching and for all of your support. And Merry Christmas, everyone. Bye.